This is going to be a shorter entry, but this is Daimu. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. This is by Fiendish Fiction, the team behind the Up All Night series, and other really intriguing entries. I played the one from O2A2 recently, and whatnot, but this is a conversation with a Kitsune, who we may or may not know, in a quest to figure out how we got here, what happened to us, and who the being in front of us might be. Let us begin. A great fog hung over me, clinging to my mind like the scent of wood smoke after a long extinguished fire. What? Where? You're awake. I'd almost hoped, but no. It's too late for a thing like hope. Old and unknowably familiar, an ache washed over me with her voice. My vision slid into focus. Kitsune? Then the feeling of something deeper, an old recognition I could not fully name. You! Me. So tell me, who am I to you? Flashes, the scent of cut grass and earth, the cool warmth of sitting by a stone creek on a bed on a summer day, aching feet dipped in trickling water, 6 tails sliding out of sight in the shaded wood, the need to hunt. Remember, I don't know, just that I should. A look evenly balanced between relief and sorrow traced the fox's face. Your answer sits between my 2 fears, Daimu. Oh, my name? It must have been. The syllables resonated deep within me, too familiar to be anything else. Your fears? Now I have a new one, but they both could be true. She tilted her head as if listening to something far off. What do you know about yourself? I don't remember. How was I speaking truth to this creature woven with lies? A piece, then, for a price. A price. A small token. A kiss. No. I stepped back, repulsed by the thought. This thing wanted to twist its fingers in my hair, pull me close, hold me down. I would not make it easy. Oh dear. You wound me. A last little stab. After all these years, you can't bring yourself to kiss your wife. Oh. That I would have ever cared for something so alien was laughable. I had a future in my village, a life I had laid out carefully before me. I looked down my hands and let out a cry. No, it can't be. You did this. Deep wrinkles creased over skin that was thin and papery with age. The hands of a grandfather. Not mine. No. Never mind. That last small flash of memory I had. I'm conflating that sentence. And that last small flash of memory, I had been young and certain. I could be that way again. I had to be that way again. We did it together. Any mortal man would wither after 50 years. But they were good. Please, believe me. They were good. I don't know them. Daimu, I know of your kind. The spells they cast. The men they pull deep into their charms. Did you bewitch me? Make me think I loved you? She simply smiled at me. Something about it made me think she had done all this before. Please, Daimu, come to me. She shifted and winced. Soon, I'll be the one dreaming. Sing me to sleep, my love. Oh, there's blood under... There's blood under Kimono. Forbidden one for singing. My voice was unfamiliar. Rough with years of use. It's like the voice I remembered but ground down to powder and dust. Then hold me, one last time. My bones creaked for her. This thing who called itself my wife, all casual glory and enigmatic smiles. Thing pulled at the edges of her mouth. Pain? Yeah, it's definitely a bloodstain, which brings that first choice into a different perspective. My quarry. Did we do this to her? Wanted to cry, but had nothing inside left to cry for. Reaching for it hurt. That blank place where my memories were supposed to be was like an adult tooth pried from my mouth that I could not recall being pulled. There was nothing I could love about a demon. That I would have agreed to this as madness. Yep, the blood is spreading more. She sighed, a small wet burble popping at the end of her breath. You've put on an old skin. One I thought you shed long ago. A man cannot shed, he only scars. I stared down at a silvered lump of upraised tissue that ran across my forearm. It was too old to be anything but familiar, but I could not recall it. What else don't I remember? I could tell you. Tell me what? How you got that scar. One less thing forgotten, my love. How? The first day we met. You were too eager for glory, and you lost your footing. A young man who had thrown himself into adulthood, determined to find more than what the world promised him. That doesn't answer anything. When you saw me, you gave chase. Think you would have caught me then, but you fell into a deep thicket and tore your arm open. Treating that wound is what bound us together. After I cared for you, you decided to stay. She hesitated, eyes flickering off into the distance. There is more than that, but time is short. Just know that it was your decision to love me. Lies. I know I had a life, a family to return to. You stole that. How could I steal what was freely given? You didn't want that family. You didn't want that life. How would you know that? You told me your heart. How your mother's love was like an untended vine. How your father was like a gnarled oak. Eyes so fixed on the horizon you could not see that he shaded his saplings too fiercely for them to grow. Smothering family upbringing. The words were sticky with sincerity, cloying with an underlying bitterness. I don't regret it, even here, even now. I have to wake up from this dream. What dream? Dream of a happy life? A dream of simplicity and love. Why would you want to wake for such a thing? Why are you so sure that happiness is dreaming? A barrage of questions made me hesitate. She wasn't wrong about my parents, or at least the small memories I had lingering of them. I could feel it with me now. Disappointment, the invisibility. Did she steal that knowledge, or had I given it freely? I could see it clearly now, a deep pool of crimson soaking through her clothing and staining the ground. That is no small wound. You're dying. I am. Who did this? You. Why? Something cracked inside you. I told myself it wasn't happening, that you would never forget what we had woven. But I was wrong, and a fool for it. The day you took your old spear and screamed at me while I tended the garden. I was so surprised, I transformed. I shed the image of a woman you loved. That only made things worse. It made you certain I was nothing but a liar. And were you? Never when it mattered. I have always been who I wanted to be. You loved me for that, of course. Once. So you've decided. Was any of it real? No, I think this blackness where you say there was love is just that. That an old man, never had a wife, would pull me into this vision to beg for your life. I would never. Words from the mouth of a Kitsune. Do you really think I'd believe them? I never lied when it mattered. I've always been who I wanted to be. You loved me for that, once. I'm leaving this place now. This dream, if you could call it that. Maybe I'll find myself young and strong again on the other side. Daimu! She cried my name when I turned my back, but did not follow me. I walked in a daze, unsure of how long I traveled. The aching in my bones faded with each step. I found myself standing at the edge of a wood, eyes clearer, back straighter. I looked down at my hands and found them young again. My skin, firm and healthy instead of ready to tear at the smallest abrasion. What remained was the single glistening scar on my forearm and the echo of musk and blood on the wind. Huh. So is she? Was she tricking us? Or was this just how we chose to interpret it? The story story she was telling could very well be like an actual unfortunate depiction. Growing old and almost like a dementia. Like the onset of dementia or some memory related occurrence, causing him to forget this time, lash out at his wife, and in her panic she transforms, and next thing we know, we're in this situation. Tragic, honestly. My quarry, creature like you, could only have been hunting. Ah, so you do remember something old. Old? A long ago history we shared. Is this? So I did hunt you. You did. Then it became more Daimu. My name? Yes. Do you remember why you hunted? Do you remember after? I do not. So speaking truth, this creature woven with lies, Ike, yeah. Well, yeah. I pressed my lips against her furred cheek. She smelled of musk, deep and earthy. I'm glad. I was worried. Worried? The familiarity of her scent clung to me like an embrace, pushed something buried closer to the surface of my aching mind. I moved back too, overwhelmed by the closeness. That you were gone, but my husband is still there somewhere. Thank you, Daimu. You're my wife. I reached my hand out toward her, a sudden ingrained motion that felt as warm and familiar as waking from a deep sleep. I stared at that hand and trembled. What did this? Deep wrinkles creased over skin that was thin and papery with age. The hands of a grandfather, not mine. No, never mind. That last small flash of memory I had been young and certain. I could be that way again. I had to be that way again. We did it together. And the immortal man would wither after 50 years. So good. Make me think I loved you. She simply smiled at me. Think about it made me think she had done all this before. Please, Daimu, come to me. She shifted and winced. Soon I'll be the one dreaming. Sing me to sleep, my love. I've never been one for singing. Even my voice was unfamiliar, rough with years of use. It was like the voice I remembered but ground down to powder and dust. And hold me, one last time. God, yeah, like the ending we got last time could very well be wandering away from the trappings of a Kitsune and returning to our young self, or just what our mind has convinced it of us, since we legitimately, whatever memory affliction we've grown into at this point in our lives, walked away from the one last thing tying us to that life we now forget, that one thing we don't recognize, and now all that's left are those old memories. And hold me one last time. My bones creaked for her. I pulled at the edges of her mouth. Pain? Wanted to cry, but I had nothing inside left to cry for. Reaching for it hurt. That blank place where my memories were supposed to be. It was like an adult tooth pried from my mouth that I could not recall being pulled. Old skin. Scars. You. Alright. Yes. I don't know it, but I wish I did. The life you say we had. It happened. It's the only thing that carries me now. I hold it for you, even at my end. Oh gosh. Goodbye. When this is goodbye, I will search for them. The memories you say we shared. That's all I could ask for. I made this world for us. It would be nice to have some piece of it left. I'll look for you in the next life. She closed her eyes one final time and grew still while I stared down at her. The enchantment swirling in the clearing evaporated with her slowing breath. I clawed at the void of memory where she claimed our relationship had been. Looked down again and found wrinkles on my arms receding. The strong, smooth skin of youth springing back. Years I would never know wiped away with her passing. The silvered scar remained. World of possibilities stretched before me, and I wept for the one I had lost. Or is this just a world that she made? She treated our wound and made this enchantment for us to live through. Like a little bubble in time, we could live this life together. Like, did we... It's curious. Kind of throws a wrinkle in my interpretation here. I become with you. And then become with you. Into death. She laughed, but it teetered on the edge of a scream in its sharpness. You don't even remember my name. How could I ask you for such a thing? I tried to remember it. It was such a small thing, but nothing came to me. No. I cannot walk into the next world with a stranger, even if he bears the face of my husband. Face is such a surface thing. Something to wear, not to be. I just need time. Then again, it's already gone. Maybe I can see you again. One day. She closed her eyes one final time and grew still while I stared down at her. The enchantment swirling in the clearing evaporated with her slowing breath. And silver scar remained. That's a curious point in trying to place that. Silvered scar means that it came after we hunted her in the past, which was, in essence, the start of that relationship. Let's be mean. I'm glad. You deserve nothing better. She winced again. Well, that changed. I'll try my best to forget those words. They aren't you. Can't be you. Your lies are worth less than the dirt you lay on. At least something can grow from the soil. Oh. Ow. I know of your kind. The spells they cast, the men they pull deep into their charms. Did you bewitch me? Make me think I loved you? Burst of rage filled me with shame. I didn't know. I just didn't know. I'm sorry. I think I've lost myself. She simply smiled at me. Something about it made me think she had done all this before. Please, Daimu, come to me. That blank place where my memories were supposed to be was like an adult tooth pried from my mouth that I could not recall being pulled. How could I hold anything with these old hands? They aren't mine. The scent of copper was seeping into the air, overpowering the scent of her fur. Your hands have done more than that, and recently. I stared down at this silvered lump of upraised tissue that ran across my forearm. I don't recall it. Let's see what else we can do here. Just know that it was your decision to love me. You cared for me. I loved you, even though I tried to kill you. Her quiet laugh was like a distant wind chime. Some things never change, but some things do. What made you love me? You told me your heart. How your mother's love was like an untended vine. How your father was like a gnarled oak. Eyes so fixed in the horizon, you could not see that he shaded his saplings too fiercely for them to grow. The words were sticky with sincerity, cloying with an underlying bitterness. I don't regret it, even here, even now. I have to wake up from this dream. There is no dream, Daimu. Only here, only now. The pulse and breath at the end of a dance. The only thing left is the final pose. A new clawing feeling filled my heart. I need to know, please, did I agree to all this? Who did this? You. Why? Then cracked. Side Was I doing really? Yes, of course. I don't know, but I wish I did. The life you say we had. I don't think this will change much, but... Oh, I reached for it and found something to grab a hold of. The small whisper of a name like a bell chime in the dark. Yume. You are my Yume. Some final wall around her broke. Casual acceptance of her end crumbled with a single word uttered from my lips. Daimu, you really do. In the next world, perhaps I won't be so broken. Wrapped her in my arms, and some last bit of magic in her failing body slid around me. Could feel my heart match the fading rhythm of her own. But you don't even know what we were. Her blood seeped into my clothing, and I buried my face in the top of her head. I breathed her in, and everything felt right. I had held her like this before, 1,000 times in simpler days. I was sure it felt too much like home. I'd like to find out. Oh! There's our end. There's our best end. Oh. And this was Daimu. God, honestly, in the end, a really sad story. Because I think, in the end, getting that final ending, it pretty much confirms what my initial feeling about this was. It was just legitimately a story of a man venturing out on his own, looking for glory and renown, goes hunting a kitsune, has an unfortunate young heroing accident. Kitsune takes pity on him and nurses him back to health. He opens up to her about his family situation and upbringing, and she falls for him, and the two of them manage to carve out a happy life together for 50 years. Even her being a kitsune who probably would have normally outlived him several times over. In the end, she was devoted to him, and he, unfortunately, when he grew old, his memory started to give out. And as utterly tragic as like Alzheimer's dementia can be, picked up his old spear, obviously almost losing those memories from the time they spent together, and finding himself in his past, in his young, rambunctious hunting past, coming after, not recognizing her, seeing her as a threat. And the unfortunately tragic outcome of that was he saw her as a threat, pulled his spear on her. She panicked, transformed into her kitsune form, and that made things worse. He stabbed her in an effort to calm him, perhaps. Threw up one last spell to at least try and say her goodbyes. And this was the outcome. Trying to say goodbye. And the best possible ending, we managed to find some degree of trace of our memory, enough to decide to follow her into the next life. And a short piece, but tragically beautiful piece. This has been Daimu. I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you next time. Until then.